So here we go. It's the Fountain of Youth Stakes. We've all been waiting for this one. We get to see the return of a couple of Derby hopefuls that we're all anxious to see. This is the 14th race, the last on the Saturday's card at Gulfstream, and it's a really big day, a lot of stakes races, and we'll certainly have postings for them. But this is the one, of course, we all want to see. It's at a mile and a 16th for 3-year-olds, and I always want to note that this one pretty much starts on a turn. So those inside horses, and there is speed in this race, and they're to the inside, have a little bit of an edge configuration-wise. So we'll take a look at the field, and we'll see, of course, Dornoch and Locked are lead the pack. Two horses that we are anxious to see. Dornach after that big Remsen win, and we saw what Sierra Leone did in the Risen Star, and really heightens the anticipation for Dornoch. And Locked, of course, had a really nice 2-year-old year, that nice Breeders' Futurity win, and a pretty good third, I thought, in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, given the way the race sets up. And then we've got some pretty intriguing ones, Speakeasy and Victory Avenue in particular, who both ran in a maiden race that and came back with some really nice figures. And Frankies Empire, the winner of the Swale. So this is a pretty good field, and it should make for a really good race, I think. We'll go through them one at a time. The first is Speakeasy, and of course, when you debut with 100 buyer, that gets people excited, much like Fierceness did. Thing to note, though, is Todd Pletcher is 0 for 12 with the 3-year-olds in a graded stakes in their first route. So that's I think that's a little sobering thought about this one. And you also have to note that Todd Pletcher's horses really have not been coming back running very well. Fierceness, Noted, Life Talk for the fillies. I'm kind of thinking more to wait one on this one. He got the trip on the rail, had everything his way, came out a couple paths to win very professionally. It's always to be expected with first-time starters for Todd Pletcher. This horse certainly has quality. There's no doubt about it. And he's got the rail, which is a great place to be for a horse who wants to be up near the lead. But, you go back to Fierceness, and I have to say, he ran that big figure, and we were all excited, and then crash in the next race. So I'm not saying that Speakeasy may be the exception to the rule here, but I have a feeling we probably want to wait one. I think he maybe was geared up pretty high to win that first one. So, and I think the price is probably going to be too short. So, to me, I'm going to let him go. I'm going to wait one. If he beats me, he beats me. Ladam Bro had no excuses whatsoever in the Swale. He saved all the ground on the rail, and he had every chance to no avail. It's good to see a career high debuting at 3 for sure, but he needs a significant jump. And note the bomb he had in the Remsen, which is has come back to be a good race. There's no doubt about it. But he was not competitive in that race. And you also have to acknowledge that they had to drop him in class to get the maiden win. And he didn't really fire an improved effort to do that. And he's been sort of in a holding pattern. And, his father took a while, Macho Man, to get going too. So this one, I think, has some potential, but I'm gonna let him go. And this one, I think there's others with a better chance to factor in this race. Victory Avenue ran second to Speakeasy in that maiden race, and a couple interesting things to note. First of all, Gustavo Delgado is 25% first-time route for 3-year-olds, and one of those winners was Mage. So we know what he did last year. He's also 50% the second start first route with a 550 ROI. This one has a good post. He was the post-time favorite against Speakeasy in the maiden, and his tab indicates that he's training well. I think that this one is a move forward is very likely. especially when you consider Gustavo's track record. And I really like him, and when we get to the others, you'll know why. But and Johnny V at the helm is always obviously a good one to have there, and he's by Arrogate, so I think 2 turns will be to his liking. And we've seen what what maidens can do in graded stakes last week with Lemon Muffin, and I think this one has the feel of a potential upset here. So Victory Avenue, I really like here. Real Macho is trained by Rohan Crichton, and he ground Born Noble down from mid pack in the optional claimer win. And the thing is, though, he has a good race, bad race pattern if you look at it in his first 4 starts. And I'd really like to see more of a steady type of progression than I think you're getting with this one. Now, he'll be running late, but also keep in mind that Gulfstream doesn't play particularly well to late runners. And the fact that he ran such a big effort last time, I have a feeling that we're probably going to see a letdown. So Real Macho, I'm going to let go. Dornach, of course, is the one that we all want to see. That Remsen, we can't forget it. It was just a great effort, and it's certainly more validated by the fact that Sierra Leone came back in the Risen Star and ran a big one. Danny Gargan is 8% with 3-year-olds and roots after 90 days, and he has an 0.43 ROI. And he's probably going to get more of the same type of value here, so maybe Dornoch will come back. He's in a decent post. I think he'll be able to get to where he wants to. I'm not necessarily certain that he will try to get the lead. I think rating is probably more likely with this one, but I don't. With the amount of early speed that's signed on, Speakeasy and Victory Avenue, and he's coming off the bench after a while with Danny Gargan, doesn't have the greatest record. The Remsen's come back as a good race. I mean, this horse was getting steadily better. We know the pedigree works here, and he should like Gulfstream. I don't think that's a problem. He's certainly a win candidate. He's going to be a very short price, though. And there are some reasons to think that maybe he'll need one. So I think he's one you certainly have to use. I think he has the right running style, and I think he has the talent to win this race, and he could very well. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, but I don't think it's a lock, and the price may be an underlay. Number 6 is Merit. Safi Joseph is 30% with the second route with 3-year-olds with a $1.90 ROI. He did all the work for Real Macho last time. He dueling with Born Noble before weakening, and I don't know how the quality of that race was because they ran kind of slow on the opening quarter, but then they really picked it up in the second, and yet Merit seemed to be eaten up by it. Yet he still was able to hang on for third. So there wasn't really much other challenge aside from Real Macho. So don't really know how good a race that really was. 2 turns looks a little iffy for this one being by Mastery. He's in the same post as he had last time, and there's a lot of speed to his inside. That means he's going to have to hustle again. And I think he's got a lot of things working against him here. So Merit, I'm going to pass on. Frankies Empire is, when horses win or run in the swale, traditionally to me, it means that the trainer's not certain about 2 turns. And he just wants a win at a distance he knows he can handle. So I've always got that in the back of my mind when I see horses move from the swale into a 2-turn race like the Fountain of Youth. He has the right progression. Coming off that swale win where he had some pace to point to, and he drew off nicely. But you do have to note that the time was 3 seconds slower than that maiden win with the maiden with Speakeasy and Victory Avenue. So he is getting better. He is progressing nicely. He's by Classic Empire and Dixie Union underneath. I think 2 turns will be okay for him. And I like the way he's progressing. Michael Yates is 0 for 8, first route with 3-year-olds. But I'm willing to give him a shot here, especially when I think Dornoch and Locked are vulnerable in this field. So probably more likely for under, but Frankie's Empire might be a sleeper here, and you'll probably get a decent price. Locked, of course, we're all anxious to see run. I loved him as a 2-year-old. I just really like the way this horse runs. He had a great turn of foot, that great acceleration. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile, as I've said before, I'm not holding that against him because he was on a speed favoring track and trying to close in to that. But I thought he ran a credible third. Problem is, he's got the same type of scenario here. You've got a speed favoring track where there's a lot of speed to the inside of him. Maybe it will set up for some pace to run to. But let's also note, as we know, he's missed some training because he did have a temperature and missed a week of a week. You can see the gap on the tab. And obviously Todd Pletcher is a trainer with a plan for a horse, and now his plan has been scrapped and he's having to call an audible. I think it's mainly because he knows he needs 2 Derby preps for Locked, and the fact that he couldn't get it into Sam Davis, now he's got to run him in the Fountain of Youth to give him some bottom, get a couple starts under him. So I think Locked is extremely vulnerable here. I love this horse. I have since the get-go. But I think he's got a lot of things working against him here, particularly since he's a late runner on a track that favors speed with speed to his inside. So to me, Locked will be entirely too short a price. And, there's just a lot of things here to tell me that he's vulnerable in this spot. He could still win this race, particularly if one of the inside horses freaks and sets really lightning fractions. But, Pletcher does train Speakeasy too, so maybe he'll use him as a rabbit. I don't know. I doubt it. But I think Locked is more likely for under in this race for the reasons stated. Coming to Dancing Groom, he might have needed one in the last, and the track was kind of against late runners, as it usually is at Gulfstream, but he really didn't do much running in that race. I mean, he closed okay, but they left him way too far back to have any chance in the race whatsoever. He may be better with one under him, but, you're certainly going to get a price. He's shown a little something here and there, but he doesn't have that steady progression that you like to see. I could certainly see using him under, of course, because, he is a late runner. And again, with Locked being kind of vulnerable, maybe he has a better chance to get underneath at will be really good value. So we look at how we're going to play this. And as I mentioned, Speakeasy, I can go either way with. I wouldn't talk you out of using them at all. But I think Victory Avenue is a better bet here to factor in this race. I'm not sure necessarily that he will be jockeying for the lead. They'll probably take him back and let him rate a little bit just off the leaders. But I think Victory Avenue, because of the good scenario for Gustavo Delgado, and we've seen what he's done before. So I think it's willing to take a chance with him. Certainly Dornach, if he comes back and runs the way he has, he's probably going to win this race because the track favors him. He's got the credentials, and provided he comes off the bench well, he's the one to beat, I think. I just wonder about Danny Gargan. He hasn't been on the Derby Trail too often or more prominently, let's say. So I don't know. I think this horse certainly has the talent. You have to use him. Frankie's Empire, I think, is of the later runners, the horses coming from off the pace, I think he certainly has the best chance to factor. I think he's one you certainly have to use. And then our other 2 late runners, Dancing Groom and Locked, I think are more likely for under. The reasons stated, I think Locked needs a race, and I don't think his running style is going to help him, particularly the fact that he does need a race and that he's had interruptions with training. So those are our 5 that we're going to use in this race. So we take a look at our wagering strategy. I'm going with Victory Avenue. I think that there's a lot to like here. We know what Gustavo Delgado can do. You're going to get some value. I think you need it here. Dornoch and Locked are obviously going to be extremely short, and I think there are some reasons to bet against them, so let's do it. We've seen a lot of heavy favorites come back and not do terribly well, so it does give you a question as to how good this 2-year-old crop was. And so I'll take a chance. I'm going to go with Victory Avenue. We're going to keep box exacta with the 3 on top with 5, 7, 8, 9. And then, of course, we'll box the 3 with Dornach and then Locked. I think we have to do that as savers. And certainly I would stagger it more towards, leverage more towards Dornach than I would Locked. And then, of course, as a saver, we'll box Dornach and Locked. I don't think it's likely that one's coming home, but I think we have to save and account for it. The trifecta will key Victory Avenue on top with 5, 7, 8, 9. Then we'll do a trifecta with Dornoch and Locked on top with Victory Avenue second, and then Dornoch and Locked in third. Then we'll put Dornoch and Locked on top, and with 3, 7, 9 in third. And then, because I think it's more likely, I'm sorry, that's a misprint there. That should be an 8 for the back key. We're going to back key Locked because I think it's very, very likely he'll be in second or third. So what that should say is 3, 5, 7, 9 with 8. 8 being 8, the back key with Locked, playing it for him to get second or third. So this is a top-heavy race on paper, but I think both of them offer a lot of vulnerability, and that should open things up for Victory Avenue. And I think Frankies Empire is another one with a really good shot to take this one down. And, I think particularly the way the Derby preps have gone this year, I think prices are what you need to find. So we'll take our stab with Victory Avenue.